Hi, and welcome to the DIY Photo Organizing podcast, focusing on topics to help you with your photo management. I'm Chantal from Photos in Order.
And I'm Fiona from Photo Helper. Hi, Chantal. How are you?
Hello. I'm really good. Thanks. How are you?
Good. And a big hello to Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there.
Hi, Fiona and Chantal.
Hi. So today we are so excited to have a really lovely listener as our guest today. So let me tell you a little bit about Lisa before we jump in and drill down and ask her some awesome questions. So Lisa is passionate about many things, including family history, documenting significant events, and the passing on of stories and memories to keep them alive. A woman after our own heart.
Yes.
She is a wife to Aaran and a mum to 18-month-old Isobel, and obviously a very busy lady. Loves to travel and explore new places, languages and cultures. She's a midwife and a registered nurse and loves creating things in the kitchen and is trying to achieve that goal of organising her family photos. Hence, we have her on our call today. And Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, look, we're thrilled to be able to have you on today. And what we thought, having chatted with you previously, just yesterday, which was lovely, we thought it would be really helpful to just allow some of the listeners to be able to go on the journey that you've been on, because they're in exactly the same place. And so it's just been such a joy to hear what you've been able to accomplish through learning and getting new skills for yourself. And so there's so many different ways and things we could talk about, but I thought if we go through this from the view of even the 5 golden rules, because that pretty much touches on everything that you've done. And then we can start from there. But instead of starting with golden rule number 1, I actually want to start with golden rule number 2. Is your why, because that is the reason why you've been on this journey. And as we all know, the journey doesn't end because we still keep taking photos.
Yes. And I do just want to clarify that I have not got everything together right now. So if anyone else is thinking that I'm coming on here because I have organized everything, done everything, and everything is pristine, you'll be disappointed, because I'm right in the midst of it as well.
That is awesome. That is so good. And I think that so many people will be able to relate to, your journey. So let's start us off. Tell us what started or what motivated you to start down this path of organising your photos?
There are a few reasons why, I think. It probably stems from I've always had a passion for family history and photos and sharing memories. I think this is because I grew up living in the same house as my grandparents. And so I guess they would talk a lot about their childhood, particularly my nana, because she was around us, my sister and I, day to day growing up. She would talk about her stories and her memories and share them with us, and even talking about her parents or her in-laws. And these people very much came alive to me. I went to Sicily. My grandparents were from Sicily. I went to Sicily when I was 11 with my mum. It was very important for them to introduce my sister and I to that side of the family and the extended family there. And my nonno was with us, living in his hometown in the house that he lived in till he was 18. And he took us to the cemetery in this ancient little town in Sicily. And I saw my great-grandparents. I saw my great-great-grandparents. I saw my great-great-great-grandparents. I saw more aunties and uncles and cousins than I could have ever imagined. And it really
So special.
It really had a profound effect of having me understand where I came from, and that has really shaped who I am now. And so going through these old photos and hearing these old stories were not just ancient history to me. They became very real. So I have always had that. Part of it is as well, my grandparents have both passed away, and so that part of my life only exists in memories. And for my sister and I, we have both had daughters in the last year and a half, and so we are looking back on our childhood, and we are so grateful for the precious photos that we have. And my nonna also had a video camera, so we have loads of home movies which are priceless, and I'm so grateful to be able to view them, even though they're not perfectly maintained, backed up, organized or anything. So I guess these things have become a lot more precious. And as well, I'm conscious that we have parents that are getting older. They're not ancient yet, but I think this last year and a half has really taught us that anything can happen that you're not really expecting. And I have been worried about losing the stories and the history. And as I said, I have an 18-month-old. I don't want another generation where all of these photos are coming out and it's all really messy and disorganized. So when I had my daughter, she looks a lot like me, and particularly as a baby. She looked like me as a baby. But people would say, "Oh, does she look like Aaran?" And I had to say, I have no idea. I've never seen a baby photo of my husband.
Right. Oh, what a shame.
We've been married 10 years.
Because they weren't organized. Is that like they were? Did you have them, or you couldn't get to them?
My mother-in-law had has had all the photos,
right?
And she has, I think, like most people, has grand plans of doing something someday, and prints a lot of photos out, and then tends to do bits and pieces that never quite happen. And she actually had all of their print photos in a gigantic box or two gigantic boxes, just kind of shoved in there. When we live in North Queensland, there was a cyclone 10 years ago, by the way, that was threatening us. And so they kind of all went in this box then, and they've been there since. And I think it's just been too hard to deal with. So
that's understandable.
So that's something that's kind of been on my mind as well. This is one natural disaster, one house flood, one something away, and that there is actually no backup of all of these photos.
So would you say, Lisa, that when you started then sort of that knowing your why and being motivated by, it sounds like even a few different things was sort of like the thing that initiated the decision to really start to do something. Has that changed as you've gone along, that sort of that real drive to keep going? Because I'm sure you've come along a lot of hurdles, and it can get bigger than Ben-Hur sometimes, these things.
Oh, absolutely. Goodness me.
And has that why stayed the same for you?
Yes and no. So this actual, I guess, moving forward started with my in-laws' photos. I think because I figured they were the most vulnerable. I had some sort of a backup, but not really. We'll talk about that later, about my own era of digital photos, my own childhood photos. My stepfather has done scanning in the past, and so a lot of significant photos at least were scanned somewhere, probably something. He's big into making slideshows and albums, so I knew that at least the worst come to worst, there was something for a lot of photos, but my in-laws hadn't done any of that with their things. So it started off with that, and then purchasing a scanner, which I did as a family group with my in-laws, with the Johnston family. That then made a whole lot more things accessible, with saying, well, I really want to do my family photos too. And my grandma, my dad's mum is still alive. I'm actually hopefully flying to Cairns this afternoon, and I'm going to spend a day with her before going home. And we're actually going to start pulling out her photos and organising that, and really trying to record some of those memories, because I'm conscious that she's there too. My in-laws celebrated 40 years of marriage just a couple of weeks ago, and when we were talking, it was really exciting when we were talking about what to do for them, because I'm the family organizer. It's me organising these things. Not that
it sounds like it,
and they let me go, so that's nice. But I said, hey, I've scanned so many of these photos. We should make a slideshow and then make a photo book documenting these 40 years. So I haven't made the photo book yet, partly because time, partly because I wanted the actual celebration to happen and to have those photos in there too. But we put together this really great 23-minute slideshow to music, and they had no idea about it, and it was really special. But that kind of changed what I was focusing on, getting the digital mess from my mother-in-law's house and trying to collate those things, whereas that hadn't have been quite the level of priority that happened. So that kind of, there's been little things that have changed along the way.
Yeah. So that's interesting, Lisa. So I'm just thinking of if someone's listening to this thinking, because you've gone on such a journey already to get to the point of being able to create that video, that slideshow for them is amazing. From when you started, and then you got the scanner, and then you've done that, how long a time has that taken from when that slideshow was shown, say, the end of August or so? Had you said?
Yeah, it was the end of August.
Yeah. Yes. So from when would you have started to get you to this point, just for a reference of time frame?
So I bought the scanner I think it was in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So really sort of 4 or 5 months.
Not that long, guys. Not that long. It's
achievable. Very achievable.
So
and
it is, sorry, Chantal. Yeah.
It's one of those things that we've discussed in the past on our podcast with the wise. You can do those sort of things without having finished your whole photo organizing project. So if this is one of your whys to create a gift for somebody, and that sort of has a deadline because it's an anniversary, like in your case, which is an awesome way to celebrate, and using photos for that. And I'm sure there were tears, happy tears.
There were definitely tears. When we had the screening with my husband and I, he teared up. And he said, you're going to have to make sure there's tissues for mum and dad. I'll definitely cry, even dad.
But you know what? With slideshows, I always say, when you're tearing up, that's when the slideshow is a job well done. That's what you want. Because then it's touching. But what I'm actually saying is, like, you can do those things without having to organize all the other thousands of photos. So you can absolutely do that. And that can sometimes also take away the overwhelm a little bit, and to focus on that one project for now, and then deal with other things later.
True. And so all right, so let's just jump in. Let me ask you, Lisa, when you've gone through this process, because there's two, I really want to be able to get across to listeners in this episode, because I think it's so relatable, because you're exactly in that position and going through this journey, both the heart behind what you're doing and why, and then also some of the practical things of actually what you've done.
Yes.
So can you just share a bit about what you've done as far as, the gathering of what you're scanning, some of that digital stuff, and what practically have you done as far as the hub? Have you got yourself a hub?
I do have myself a hub.
Yay, gold star.
It's maybe not my forever hub. And I think that was in the sense that I spent some time researching, and I was getting really, I've got to choose exactly the right thing. I have to make sure I have exactly the right program, and I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to do this, don't want to do that. And then I just thought, you know what? I just need one place. My computer's not big enough for talking about two sides of family history here. I will buy an external drive, a quality one. And I actually bought two. So I've got a flash drive that's a solid state drive, and I've got a plug in, little dongle type one. And the reason why I have two now is that just is two copies of what I'm doing, so that if one of those drives fails, I still have the other one. And they're reasonably easy to work off, because I am doing a lot of digital sorting at the moment. In time, I will probably have one hard drive and one place to have it. I'm contemplating having a NAS that's going to back things up in a slightly different way. And then I will ensure that the cloud service and backup service that I have is the best for the job. But right now, I've got one that I know is going to do the job should I need to access these things. And that's okay as I work. I don't have to have everything sorted out.
Yeah, perfect. So are you using did you decide on a folder structure outside of a program, or are you using any other software for that?
I am doing it outside of a program for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I'm not a photographer myself. So, for example, my bestie Kylie, she is a hobby photographer, loves taking photos of her kids, and doing all of that with her fancy camera and her things.
And a quick shout out. Let's just do a quick shout out to Kylie. Hi, Kylie.
Yeah, hi, Kylie.
We just have to, don't we, Lisa? We have
probably
to
squealing right now. We have to. She's my wifey on this journey with me.
We all need one of those.
And so yeah, she's doing her own thing. So she works within Lightroom. Yeah, that's where she has been organizing her photos. That's what she uses to organize her photos, and that works really well for her. I am not a photographer. I haven't been using Lightroom. I thought about starting, and then I thought, you know what? No, because I don't really need that. And for me, it was important to have the flexibility, because I am doing this on behalf of a number of people. I'm doing it on behalf of my parents, my in-laws' parents, my parents-in-law, my siblings, siblings-in-law, my child, any other children, my niece, all these people. I'm doing this. So I wanted to make sure I had something that would go across Windows, Mac. I didn't want to say you have to buy this program in order to be able to view your photos. And, so I'm just doing a normal where you would normally save your files, and you can view them just in the normal photo viewer on your computer if you don't have anything else specialized. So I'm basically, my basic structure is, because as I say, I am kind of doing a number of things. So I have an overall folder name. So for my husband's side of the family, that's Johnston photos. For anything that's kind of 1989 when I was born onwards, for my family, that's Lisa's family photos. That includes with my little sister and my mum and all of that side. Anything that is pre-me is Lillian's photos. That's my mum. And anything that is kind of outside of her, because we are talking about her parents and her grandparents and other extended family from that sort of historical photos, I've just got as historical photos there as well. And then depending on what it is, so I mean, in the Johnston family photos, I do have those historical photos, and I do have those other kind of categories as well. It's just that my family, I think, have more photos, or I've had access to them. So that's how I've sort of broken it down. But basically within my family, within my current family life, as well as the past things and whatever, I'm doing it as decades. And so it'll be 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, etc. Click in on the decade and you will see every year in there. if it's relevant. Of course, if there's only 5 photos from 1950, I really haven't bothered. But you know, for the later stuff, you know, so it'll be 1990, 91, 92, etc., all the way down.
And so,
clicking on your
so have you used any software to do any deduplication in the?
I have. I was going to say, then I go sort of from there to month, and then I've got, but in each, apart from having all of the months and everything, I've got an undated / to be sorted folder as well.
Oh, perfect.
So all that stuff that you kind of go, gee, I know that's in the early 90s somewhere, or that's definitely 2000 hair, or whatever it is. Or even I know it's in 2002, but I actually have no idea when. Or I'm not sure. I don't have to think too hard about it. I can just pop it in there, and I know.
I love that. I love that, Lisa, because it gives you a structure that as things come up, like, you know, even down the track, if someone finds something new, you can slide it straight into what you've created there as a structure.
Exactly. Thanks.
That's important, I think, also because, you know, we've been speaking about procrastination a lot, and these are exactly strategies that help you not to procrastinate, because you've got a simple solution, you know, and don't think too much about it right now. You can play detective much later, and oftentimes things will fall into place because you might have found other photos from that era, and all of a sudden you can place them into a year or into a decade or whatever. And you don't need to waste all that time. It might automatically sort of fall into place by itself eventually.
And I have found that, Chantel, where I've gone, there's these things, and I don't know when that is. But then from a print photo perspective, there'll be it's obviously been someone else has taken a photo for us at a Christmas or at a function or whatever. And on the back, it will be a date and a description. And I'll go, hang on, that was from here. Now I know all these photos fit right in here. And it's really helped with the overwhelm, because it is overwhelming. It's really helped with that, because I know that everything has a place. Even if I don't know where it goes, it still has a place to go.
Yeah, which brings us into this sort and organize. We've got that golden rule number 4. So when you're doing that, putting them in, are you like adding any other sort of metadata stuff or keywording or changing file names or dates, or what's your sort of process, and what are you doing with that kind of stuff?
So this is quite interesting, because there are 2 aspects to it. So I have been dealing with a lot of print photos, and that is a level of sorting and organizing before making them digital. And then once they are digital, and all of the other digital photos, the native digital photos, there is a level of organizing there as well. So I was thinking about it, you know, if you are wanting to start with print photos, this is relevant for you. But I do have some ideas about dealing with digital photos first. So with the print photos, with my mother-in-law, she had all of the photos, most of the photos in their Kodak packets, which was handy, rather than just being, you know, a gigantic jumble. Some of them were a little bit mixed up, or she tried to order them along the lines in different sort of ways, or there were a couple of, you know, keep for Aaran's 21st, keep for Sarah's 21st, you know, kind of envelopes that she'd made. And so a big thing for her, she was very overwhelmed, and so I was asking for these photos, and I have a very good relationship with my mother-in-law, and her kids were on board, so we're all saying, look, just hand over the photos, and Lisa will scan them. And she was a bit daunted about actually doing that. And I think a big part of it, I think there was a lot of things at play, but a big part of it was she felt that they were a mess and she had to sort them out. And in an ideal world, she would. We'd do that together. But it was just never going to happen. And I think it's something that a lot of people want to do, but don't actually necessarily sit and prioritize and say, right, I'm going to do this over all of the other really important things in my life, because we all have lots of important things, don't we?
Yeah.
And lots of priorities.
Yeah.
So,
and it's one of those procrastination things. It's
Yes.
just overwhelming. And there's this that she would have just felt that. And interesting, because she felt that even when someone was still asking her to help.
Yes.
So what was the shift?
Well, we had discussed that we would all pitch in to buy a scanner that does batch scanning of prints. So it's called the Epson Fast Photo Scanner. It was about $650, $700. So not loose change under the couch, or at least not under my couch. But, still, when we're talking about gigantic boxes of things, probably cheaper than outsourcing to print to get everything scanned. So I thought, flatbed scanning, wonderful. I'm never going to scan that many photos.
No.
I would love to think I will, but it's just not going to happen. And I didn't want to have to go through and trying to prioritize scanning the most important and the least important, and I just sort of wanted to have everything digitized and done. So we realized that it was going to be cheaper for us all to contribute in on this scanner than it was to just outsource that many photos without really having sorted them through. So she was really keen on this. My parents-in-law actually paid for half the scanner. This was their thank you to say, you're doing this is our thank you for doing our photos.
Yeah, and that's a creative way that people can sort of think about, trying to, when they're doing it themselves, to think of those things and to all pitch in. Yeah.
It worked really well. I understand it wouldn't work for all families, but for ours, that was a really great thing. So everyone was kind of making their contribution to say, we're paying you to scan our photos. And basically we turned up at my mother-in-law's house. They were actually going away for a holiday. And we said, we're here to get the photos. And my husband was saying, Mum, I have no baby photos. I have no photos of my childhood. My wife hasn't even seen a photo of me in my childhood. Really? He's going, no, of course she hasn't. They're all in this box. Where would she have seen them?
And he probably hasn't seen many of them too.
He hadn't seen most of the photos. It's been really interesting. And so she was quite resistant. And then in the end, my father-in-law said, Margaret, just hand them over. It was all very, very awkward, actually. So a lot of the promise was, I said, I'm going to keep everything as is. You don't have to do anything. You just hand them over to me. I will scan them. We can discuss it later. So in a perfect world, we would have really organized those print photos. And there are some of them that probably didn't need to be scanned, but they're not my photos. So it was hard to make those calls exactly. But being able to batch scan with this scanner, because you can actually put up to over 30 photos in the tray at the one time, and it just goes through like boom, 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 boom.
Perfect.
So being able to do that, I was saying, let's just not get hung up on the little details. So better to do it and delete it. It's not going to take up too much time and effort. So that was really handy. So I tried to work out what I could, but a lot of it was just using, if she'd written, there wasn't that much written, to be honest, but if she'd written a year or an event, sometimes it would say Aaran's birthday, this, that, whatever, these different things I could use to kind of make a guess. If not, I just scan them.
And so where did you put that? Where did you put that information then, Lisa?
So I just do want to say, please, Epsom, if you do want to sponsor me, that's great. But this is not sponsored by Epsom. This is just what I have used. But feel free to send me free stuff, Epsom.
Us too.
Yeah. So when you go in and use this scanner, it prompts you and it asks you to put in details. And so you can put in no details, that's fine. But you can put in a year, or you can put in a decade. and you can put in a month or a season or not, depending on what you know, and you can put in a topic. So with my in-laws' photos, if there was something that was written on the envelope, I was making that my topic, just to be able to kind of cross-reference and go, it's from this packet, or it's from this time, or this is around. There's one that, for example, didn't have anything on it, but it was Christmas. There was a Christmas, and my sister-in-law had been given a puppy surprise. And I'm hoping she remembers when she got her puppy surprise. It seemed quite significant in her life. So, for example, the ones that were in that packet are called Konica Envelope Sarah Puppy Surprise Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
So look, it wasn't the tidiest way. It wasn't the easiest way. And it's a little bit tricky, and it is a little bit disorganized. But it's a way that it's gotten it done.
And I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing that's encouraging for others too, Lisa, is that it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's what's working for you and what you're doing for your family. And the fact is that they're out of that box, and they're able to be seen, and those memories, and your sister-in-law can enjoy it and feel that joy. And when seeing
from
those
her puppy
photos.
surprise, she actually got an extra puppy in that. It was very exciting for her at Christmas.
Oh wow!
5 puppies in the surprise.
So Lisa, I'm interested because I haven't got that scanner. I've got a different model. So that information that you put in there, does that come out as like in the file name or the folder name, or where is that attached to?
So it will update the metadata on the photos.
Right, okay.
So let's say my family are a bit easier in the sense that firstly, it was my life. And secondly, that there was more information and more dates, either date stamped on the photos or written on the back. And so I was able to sort them a bit better. But let's say I was born in May 1989. So, and there are about 300 photos from May 1989, because I was the first baby. So, that's it. So let's say I've got
sorry to all the second children out there, but that's just the reality.
Sorry, my sister really doesn't have
I know. Shout out to me. I'm a younger one too.
And so I can scan them all as so I put in the drop down box 1989, next drop down box May, and then my subject. When they are digitized, the metadata within the photo is going to say 1st of May 1989 on all of them.
Date. So the date of the photo, the date taken.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So this is game changing, ladies.
That's
game
brilliant.
Changing.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect, because you know what? I was born on the 9th of May, not the 1st. And there are photos beyond that. But if you want to put them in Google Photos or put them in your photo viewer or do whatever you want to do with them, they will actually come up as May 1989.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And the way that you can choose to disable the setting, but the way that I have it so that they're saved, they go into a fast photo file, but it updates a folder. I've got a subfolder for each of these things. So this subfolder will be, for example, 1989 May _ Lisa childhood, Lisa born, whatever the thing is. And so that is going to differentiate it from, June or July or any of the other ones. So it is actually starting to put them in an organized method for you. It's not perfect. And you can choose to rename the files. The other great thing about this is, let's say I scan all these 300 ones of May, I keep going, and look, I found even more photos from May 1989 down the track. I can't believe it, but they're there. I can go through, and if I put in the same metadata as in the same date, month, and file name, it will automatically go back and put them in that original folder.
That's great.
Right.
I like, a few times now this is clear sort of proof that it's better done than perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's just the reality, you know, because as photo organizers, we want to get it perfect, but it can be that block that we stumble on. It's just, sometimes it's just do it.
Yeah.
And it's done. And
it is starting to have some sort of a structure without me having to do anything. Except input a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really handy, because I feel like I'm already clever enough to have some order without just having a whole lot of random files that I have to deal with that could get overwhelming.
Yeah.
So it is better. The best way I found to do it is, which I was able to do with, like I say, my family photos a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically just clear a table, clear I don't want to say the floor like it's dirty, but, a big space.
Yeah.
And get a bunch of index cards or some paper or something to label it. And so start by sorting into your broad categories.
Yeah.
That could be decades, that could be years, but I wouldn't go any more specific than that. So I'd put, all of 1989, just because we're talking about that year, all of that together, all of 1990 together. I might put anything that's kind of black and white prior to my mum being born in this sort of one place, kind of really just broad categorizing. If you don't know, don't get hung up about it. Just pop it in unsure or vague 90s, vague 2000s. I was in high school here, so I know it has to be here, or we lived in this house or whatever. Yeah. But now's not the time for the detective work, as you say, Chantal.
Yeah.
And that's just so don't get bogged down, and just kind of put it in a to be sorted pile, and that will help. So once you've kind of done that, it's actually, once you get in the swing, it's pretty easy. Maybe there's something written on the back. Maybe there's something, the date stamp on there, or even when they've been printed, sometimes, it's printed on the back what year it was or what month the film was developed. So there's a lot of stuff in there. And I will just say, with the Epsom scanner, it scans your photo. And it also does an auto enhance, which is actually really brilliant. I'm not a big Photoshopper, so I don't have the magic clicks, but without having to do anything, it will turn, particularly it does so well with that kind of red haze over the old sort of 70s.
Yeah, that's so good. And they're great. And like you say, they're not, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than having those.
Pretty close. It's pretty great in a lot of ways.
A lot of them are. They're brilliant. Yep.
And then it also scans the back of the photo. So if it detects that there is writing, or whether it's handwriting or whether it's something printed during the printing process on the back of the photo, it will automatically save it. So if it doesn't detect anything, it doesn't save the back of that file. But if it does, it will have that. And so the way it saves the file is you'll have your original file name, and then it's got the auto enhanced version is original file name _A. And then the back is original file name _B.
Perfect.
So it's going to keep all of those pieces of those photos together with the one file name. So you don't have to worry about the back being separated from the front. So
I think, let me just ask, did you have any knowledge about all of this beforehand? Like, what skills would you have learned? Did you know sort of, obviously you would have had some quite a tech savvy sort of an understanding genuinely, or did you,
yes and no.
Did you learn a lot of stuff?
I learned a lot of stuff, to be honest. A lot of these things, I actually stumbled on your podcast partway through. And in a lot of ways, might have been easier if I'd started at the start. A lot of these things I was kind of having to work on. Look, I'm 32. I'm a tech native, but I'm not a massive tech person.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
you're just
not that
learning as you've gone. As you've come to a new step, you've sort of searched and looked and found.
I've Google searched. I've maybe talked to a few things. Like my stepfather has done photo scanning. My stepfather has done slideshows. So I talked to him about a few specific things. Like I said, Kylie, my bestie, she's done a lot of digital photo organizing and updating metadata and doing that. So I would talk to her about that kind of things, or just. But it's just been trying to do something that is actually simple and achievable. So like I say, with this scanner, it's actually going to do a lot of the hard work for me with a few clicks. That's what I want, because I want to actually get through and scan thousands of photos, and not get hung up on, all these details. So it's going to be something you can't do. So that's been really handy. And then when I've gone and got the decade, the year, so our 1989. When I'm up to scanning it, then I've gone through and sorted it into months. And you don't even have to do it January to December, because you're going to put each month in the drop down folder. For that. So it doesn't matter if you scan January, then you scan June, then you scan
because it's going to go in. It's going to put it in order. I love that. I love that.
It's so good. So good. And you don't have to worry about if you come up with something later. It's just going to go. It's just going to go straight in there, which is really handy. But I was going to say that's one way of coming up with duplicates. As in, when you'd get your photos developed, and there would be you'd get doubles.
Did you use the software for the duplicates?
I did for the digital duplicates, but I could even work out with the before I scanned with the print duplicates. I wouldn't get too hung up if I'd seen that photo before, because when I get down to I'm looking at April or I'm looking at May or whatever, I'd come up with them. So I haven't thrown out any duplicates purely because maybe I want a copy, maybe my sister wants a copy.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. But I have, my system was to put them all face down. So even within the Kodak packets of my mother-in-law's ones, I kept them all within their original Kodak packets, respecting what how she'd ordered them. And I just had them kind of face down. So I knew that they were at the back of the packet, and that they were all, they were duplicates. So they can be decided upon later. I did use for the digital photos. Yes, I use Duplicate Cleaner Pro as per your recommendation, and it's just as good as you say.
Isn't it a great program?
Fantastic. And that was really handy, just jumping around when I decided to take on the digital mess of my my mother-in-law's. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got my own digital mess to sort out, but
don't we all?
Right? So with this anniversary slideshow, I thought, gosh, I need photos post 2005 here. We got files off my mother-in-law's computer. My in-laws are not tech savvy. So this was big. So I got all of the files off the computer. My mother-in-law had a lot of CDs when she'd gone and gotten digital photos printed in the early days. She'd get the CD backup. Must have spent a fortune, but she had all these CDs because she thought they would last forever. And then she had 2 external hard drives. One worked, one didn't. So that's a thing as well. Just because you've got an old hard drive doesn't mean it's going to actually always be an old hard drive.
And sadly, we've definitely come across that before, and working with people.
But anyway, we've got a lot of stuff. So because there were things in numerous places, and an SD card from a camera and all of those things, basically it was easier to just put all of the photos, all of the CDs, all of the files, all of the things into one folder and make a gigantic mess. And then run Duplicate Cleaner. Because it was going to. So even if there was a photo on a CD that was also on a hard drive backup that was still on her current computer, it didn't matter. I didn't have to get bogged down in it, and it was going to delete it for me. brilliant stuff. I found it's not 100% accurate on the scanned photos. I think because when you scan the photo and then you scan the photo again, the pixels may end up in a slightly different place.
Yeah. For scans, it's not as good as for digital.
So that was it did pick up a few, but that was my experience, but massively worth it for the digital ones. And totally game changer if you've got a spare $12, anybody, and you really do want to organize your digital photos. Photo Mover, wow, what a game changer.
I know,
it just is brilliant, isn't it?
So with that gigantic jumble of photos from all of the places, I then spent $12, purchased this program.
And that's it. You've got to use the resources that are out there. You know, it doesn't have to be a manual process to slide them all in and try to organize them all.
Changed my life. I'd love to think I'm going to do it manually. That I've got other things to do with my time. And it's boring.
Which brings us to the golden rule number 5 of doing something, which is doing the other stuff. Which is the fun part. I mean, obviously, we're enjoying talking about the fun part of the organising, because it is. Let's face it, fun. Everyone must enjoy organising. But really, it's that joy in seeing, getting that slideshow done and being able to see the reactions and feel those emotions and relive some of those things. What are some of the things that you've done? Have you done anything else as yet, or is it mainly just the slideshow at this stage?
So there's been a few things, some more significant than others, but they've all been kind of fun. So look, there have been some great sharing of photos in the family chats. And by great, I mean, I've been in control of it. And there's been a lot of ones that maybe the individual didn't think was that great, but everyone else appreciated. But, that's actually been pretty significant, sharing these moments and people reliving them and that kind of thing. We had a family photo viewing with my in-laws where I had one laptop hooked up to the TV, so they were showing on our TV, and I had Photo Mechanic, so another program that I have purchased, but really, really useful in terms of just being able to rename the files, because I am wanting to rename the files. This isn't a perfect world, and this is a luxury. I'm wanting to rename them with the date and with the details of the photo within there, so that ideally you can go in and you can search 2000 May, and all those photos are going to come up. Or you can search, I want to know, I'm also putting in the place name, so if it's at the farm where I grew up, it's Silkwood Farm. If we're at,
you can still use all of that.
Carmine Beach House, where wherever, even, or for my husband, any photo that is taken within his house or property on the farm where they grew up, I've got Cooley, the property name in there.
So when you were doing
weird, but that's just got all of the details, so people can go in, and that's the caption. So what you would write on the back of the photo, that's the file name, basically, whether it's listing all of the people there in order or, putting details down there.
And you were doing that with the gathering when you were doing that slideshow with the family.
Yes.
I've got a very important question. Lisa.
Yes.
When you went through and you finally did find a photo with your husband, does your daughter look like him?
She does. She does. There are some photos around this age, so around that kind of 12 to 18 months. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's Isobel. And I'm showing, and then even they'd come up and my in-laws are going, whoa, that's Isobel. And I sent them to my mum and she said, oh, there's Isobel.
That's so good. And oftentimes also I find it's cousins who look very much alike, and you can just see that family connection,
it makes it worth it. It just makes all that effort worth it, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does.
So, when we were doing that, I was using Photo Mechanic to rename the files quickly. So that was really helpful. We also came across some photos that we said, hey, this would be really fun to recreate.
Right.
So from my side, there's a photo of my mum with my sister and I in the 2 laundry tubs at our beach house at Coromine Beach. And we still have that house, and those laundry tubs are the same. Not for much longer because mum's renovating, but they are the same. So we went, hey, this would be so much fun if we've got mum, Nana Lil, standing at the front and our 2 daughters in the tubs where we were in this photo.
Precious.
Or, there's been some cute ones of my brother-in-law on his push bike as a kid and his mum standing there smiling. I said, we need to recreate this with you on your motorbike and your mum looking sad because she hates the fact he has a motorbike. Just different things like that. And even just a recent example of Father's Day. We'd come across some photos which no one had seen probably since they were taken of my father-in-law in bed with my husband as a small boy, and then with him and his little sister, and they're so cute, and they're there cuddled in under the blankets, and my father-in-law he's just got this gorgeous dad look on his face. And the kids are snuggled there, and Aaron's got his teddy, and it's just it was so beautiful, and we thought they were beautiful photos. And then come Father's Day, just the other day, I put Isobel in bed with Aaran to give his present, and she wasn't super cooperative, but we got a photo in the same kind of way.
Yes.
And I was able to get the original because I had actually renamed that file. So I went and typed in Father's Day, and those photos popped up in my
now that is the best use. That's such a good story. I mean, it really is.
It's something totally inconsequential, but it was great. And so I put them in the family chat, and my husband went on Facebook and put a photo of him and his dad, and had Father's Day 1986 and then Father's Day 2021, and put the 2 photos kind of side by side.
Precious. That's so
and
precious.
you know what, it was just something you could kind of do offhand, and I said this is the perfect example, because otherwise we wouldn't have known this photo existed. B, we may have known about it but didn't know where it was. I could find it. Actually, look, I'll admit it took me longer because I had to I didn't think I'd renamed the file, so I was trying to find it. Then I just typed in Father's Day and went, oh, you silly. Whole point. And then it was just easy to kind of click them on. You could make a gift, do a thing, put a social media post. It was really great like that. And it's my sister turned 30. It's a work in progress, but I'm giving her a photo hub of all of our childhood photos. So I've actually scanned.
Now that is a brilliant gift.
I hope she's not listening.
No, she knows about it. She knows.
Okay.
So that kind of changed the why, in that we don't live in the same town. But when I was there visiting, I said, right, give me your photos, Beck. And I'll just scan them. And so with the scanner as well, it's kind of, it does its thing. You set it up, and then it's actually quite quick. That's a little annoying because you don't get to do other things, but you can just have it. So, I mean, I have a toddler who's into everything. When I'm kind of just working, I've got my laptop and my scanner up on the bench with the TV, because she can't reach that. And so I can just kind of click boom boom, and then it'll go off while washing on, do my things, come back to it, put on the next one, boom boom,
and just keep going
with in life.
So tell us, I mean, I know we could just chat forever, but let me just, I want to wrap up and just in reflection of what you've done so far, and I know that you've still got stuff to go and you're still on the journey, and it, as we all know, it's really never ending. But what kind of encouragement would you give others that are just sort of not quite as advanced as you yet, and where you've gotten to, and maybe they're starting out, or they've started and they've got a stumbling block or something, but what kind of encouragement would you give to others that are sort of just embarking on this?
So, look, there's a few parts to it. it's normal to get overwhelmed. It's normal to be overwhelmed that it's not going to happen all at once. And I struggle with that too. So I guess, no, you're not alone to start with that. If you are stumbling on one part of it, or you're not feeling doing one part of it, is there a second part that you could move to that has you going? So like I've got a few balls in the air at the moment. So I've got scanning of photos, my side, his side. I've got digital mess to deal with. I think spending $12 to buy Photo Move, where you put in just a whole folder and then you say, I want to put it in this folder, and it will automatically organize it into year, month, day. That's $12 and 3 minutes there or thereabouts. That will suddenly have you going from mess to I have an organized file structure.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's so good. And that's good advice. Yeah. So to know you're not alone, jump into something else. That's a really good point. I put my SD cards in separate folders as well. Perfect.
Because I've got phone photos or whatever. And I actually just last week, I feel like reliving my trip to South America, and I went through that. Turns out I have some great photos. I don't even have a photo book of my wedding. I have all these amazing photos, and I haven't done stuff with them, but I am now. So if making a photo book of your wedding 10 years ago is what you feel like doing, do it. If going through an SD card is, do it. If scanning is, do it. Just kind of whatever you're doing, you are moving forward in your goal. Think about if you're talking about with a wider family group, like like I am, where your photos are not just yours. Perhaps maybe have a chat to the relevant parties and talk about sharing the work or sharing the costs.
Great.
Works.
That's a great tip too. Absolutely.
You share the costs of buying a scanner or a really great backup system or cloud storage or whatever it is. You don't have to go it alone, and you don't have to be super technical. So
and that's the thing, because you can learn stuff along the way. Everything like that. So Lisa, I just want to say a huge thank you for today, and just for being so honest and open and just sharing so many details. It has just been such a joy. And it's lovely to know that, what we're doing with the podcast has helped, and, that you've been able to now pass that on and encourage others. So I just want to say a huge big thank you, and encourage you, keep going. What you're doing is making a big difference to so many.
I want to say thank you to you both. I love my daughter, but you know what? It's lonely being a stay-at-home mum too. So there have been many nap times where you have kept me company, and where I've just been too tired to do anything, but I've listened to you, and that's kind of just given me a bit of a boost. So thanks for being my friends, even though you didn't know it. And thanks for giving such great resources. It's been really helpful. This has given me a project to do with my time, and it's also been something that has really brought so much joy to other people and so much joy to me. And it's a work in progress, but I feel like I've come really far, and I just wanted to share with everyone else, hey, I'm someone out there who's trying to do this and actually making it happen.
You are. Well done. That's wonderful.
And you're giving us a boost by, this is so amazing to hear that we can make a change and that we can help people. That's why we're here.
You can. So
and that's
thank
so
you
nice
on
to
behalf
hear.
of all of my family, because you have brought us so much joy.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. What a wonderful way to end the episode.
It is.
So thanks again. And as always, feel free to jump on over to any of our social channels and contact us. We'd love to have a chat and answer any questions that you have. And thank you. I am Fiona from Photo Helper.
And I am Chantal from Photos in Order. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And Thanks again, Lisa, for being our guest.
Thanks for
We
having
love
me.
having you here, and keep going, and find more joy in the photos. Well done.
Absolutely. All right. Bye for now.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye.